You didn't lose them to an argument. You didn't lose them to distance or time or circumstance. You lost them to a promotion, a new relationship, a shift in their confidence, a moment when something in their life changed, and suddenly, so did the way they looked at you. The tone shifted, the warmth thinned. There was a new kind of ease in how they dismissed you, interrupted you, made you feel like a footnote in a story you used to be central to. And the part that stays with you, the part that's hardest to shake, is that they probably don't even know they did it. When this happens, the people around you tend to offer one of two explanations. Either they tell you that you're being too sensitive, reading too much into small things, imagining a shift that isn't really there. Or they tell you that person was always like that you simply missed the signs. Both of those explanations place the confusion inside you as your error, your perception problem. But what if the confusion isn't yours? What if what you noticed was completely real, and the reason it happened has nothing to do with you at all? To understand why people drift, we have to look at the hardware. This isn't just an ego problem, it's a biological one. The human brain is a social organ. More than almost any other species, we are wired to track our position relative to the people around us. Not consciously, but constantly, automatically, beneath the surface of every interaction. In our evolutionary past, status wasn't just about pride, it was about survival. Those at the top of the hierarchy had first access to resources, protection, and safety. Those at the bottom were the most vulnerable to the elements and the most likely to be cast out. Because of this, our brains developed a hypersensitivity to upward movement. There's a region of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex that is deeply involved in social comparison. It responds to shifts in status the way a compass responds to a magnetic field, quietly, continuously, without asking permission. When someone experiences a genuine rise in status, wealth, recognition, or even a high-value partner, the brain doesn't just register that change factually, it recalibrates. The entire social landscape is redrawn around the new position. It feels like confidence. It feels like growth. But what they miss is that this recalibration doesn't just change how they see themselves. It changes how they see you. You were once a peer, a mirror, a companion on the same level. But as the brain remaps the world, you are moved to a different category. You become the person from before, a relic of a lower status version of themselves that they are subconsciously trying to outrun. There is a concept in behavioral science called social proximity theory. When your friend was struggling alongside you, their brain saw you as an ally. But when they ascend, the brain experiences a dopamine surge that can create a temporary loss of empathy. Studies have shown that higher perceived status can actually decrease the activity in the mirror neuron system, the part of the brain that helps us feel what others are feeling. This is a terrifying psychological reality. When someone feels they have moved up, their brain literally loses the ability to feel your perspective as clearly as they used to. They are no longer tuning in to your frequency because they believe they've found a higher one. If you suspect this is happening to you, you need to perform what I call a relationship audit. Because the shift in status rarely shows up in a loud argument, it shows up in the micro habits of the conversation. First, watch the interrupt factor. In a peer relationship, the flow of speech is like a tide. It goes back and forth. But when someone recalibrates above you, they stop waiting for your sentences to finish. Their brain has decided that their voice now carries more weight than yours. They aren't listening to understand, they are listening to direct. Second, look for conditional presence. Do they only call you when they want to talk about their new world, but suddenly become too busy when the conversation turns to yours? This is a sign that you have become a mirror for their success, rather than a partner in their life. You have been relegated to the role of an audience member. Consider Mark and Sarah, close friends for 5 years. They shared the same budget, the same frustrations, the same level. Then, Mark gets a massive promotion. Watch the dynamic. It's not that Mark starts insulting Sarah, it's subtler. When Sarah talks about a problem, Mark no longer offers empathy, he offers advice. He talks at her, not with her. In Mark's new internal map, he is now a problem solver, and Sarah is a problem haver. He has subconsciously moved her from the category of peer to the category of subordinate. He feels helpful, but Sarah feels the coldness of the hierarchy. There is a cost to this shift, the status ache. When your brain recalibrates into a hierarchy, you lose the ability to connect horizontally. You start to view every interaction as a negotiation of power rather than an exchange of soul. The person who changed on you is likely feeling a strange, hollow coldness they can't quite name. They have swapped intimacy for authority. They have traded the messiness of being known for the sterile safety of being admired. They didn't just move away from you, they moved away from the parts of themselves that felt safe being just enough. Here is the most painful part. The people most affected by this are usually the ones who were the most vulnerable. If you were the person who held their hand when they had nothing, if you were the person who saw them at their lowest, you are now a walking reminder of the version of themselves they want to forget. By staying in their life, you are a witness to the vulnerability they have now labeled as weakness. To feel fully above, they have to distance themselves from the person who knew them when they were below. So, how do you survive the silence that follows their ascent? First, stop shrinking. When someone makes you feel small, the natural response is to try and prove your worth. You talk about your own wins. You try to match their energy. Don't. You cannot prove your value to someone who has decided you are a secondary character. Second, reclaim your own status. Status isn't just about what others give you. It is about your internal orientation. If you remain steady, if you remain consistent, you are demonstrating a form of power that they don't yet understand. The power of self-sufficiency. But we must also ask the harder question. How do we ensure we don't do this to others? When we win, when the promotion finally comes, our nervous system screams for safety. It wants us to stay above, so we never have to feel small again. But true growth is the ability to acknowledge your rise without using it as a pedestal. It is the practice of active equality, the conscious decision to keep your eye level the same, even when your bank account or your job title says otherwise. It is the refusal to let your mirror neurons go dark. The people most affected by this are usually the ones who never made their own worth conditional on position. The ones who treated the person the same when things were hard as when things were good. There's a painful irony in that. The steadiness you brought, the consistency, the lack of ego may have been precisely what made it easy for them to move away without resistance. Because you weren't holding the relationship in place with competition or leverage. You were just there, reliably. You are not broken for feeling this. You are not responsible for managing the internal maps of people who haven't yet learned to hold their worth without a hierarchy. The people who can rise and remain, who can grow without needing to stand above those who were there from the start, those people exist. They are the ones worth orienting toward. If you felt this shift recently, you aren't too sensitive, you're just paying attention. Tell me about a time you noticed this dynamic in the comments. Let's rethink it together.